Good morning.
Good morning, Louise. We can hear you loud and clear. Good morning, Councillor Luchaba. Can you hear us? Good morning, Councillor Mangaliso. Can you hear us?
Ek sien vanmôre jy soek my neutrale punt.
Good morning, Alderman Gericke. Can you hear us?
Yes, good morning. I can hear you. Thank you. Good morning, colleagues.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Luzuko, can you hear us? Mr. Yapi Stradam, can you hear us?
Morning. I can hear clear. Thank you. And I will again say apology for Mr. Daniels on a later stage, but I can hear you clearly. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. Notice is hereby given in terms of Section 29 of the Local Government Municipal Structures Act 117 of 1998, that the council meeting of the 2016-2021 term of the Garden Route District Municipality will be held via Zoom on Tuesday, 23rd of February 2021 at 11 hours to consider the items as set out in the agenda. It is now 11 o'clock. Let me take this opportunity, Executive Mayor, to welcome you, our Deputy Executive Mayor, members of the Mayoral Committee, all other councillors, colleagues, our Municipal Manager, and our precious staff. Thank you so much for participating in this, and I wish you a very fruitful and a productive council meeting today. May I please then request that we start off this meeting with a silent prayer. And whilst we're doing that, can we please also then observe a moment of silence due to our very special colleague, Councillor Danny Simon, that has passed on. May I request that all gentlemen please stand. Is it possible, Rihanna, that you can do that for us in alphabetical order, please? Just to place it on record, please. Thank you.
Good morning, Speaker. Good morning, everybody. We have the following councils attending via Zoom. Councillor S.F. May, Councillor Ben van Wyk, Councillor Luchaba, Councillor Windvogel, Councillor Strubel, Alderman van der Hoeven, Councillor Pusa, Councillor Mangaliso, Councillor Tekolo, Elder Lady Wolmerans, Councillor Matiwani, Councillor Meyer, Elder Lady Reiters, Councillor Lambertine. Those are the councillors present via Zoom. In the council chambers itself, it is yourself, Speaker, Alderman Boyson, Elder Lady Kritzinger, Elder Lady Tayisi, Councillor Spies, Councillor Lawsey.
Thank you very much. Anybody connected that we haven't mentioned?
Speaker, I see that Councillor De Vries has now also joined.
Thank you.
Goedemorgen, Speaker Rihanna.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Fry. And Councillor Fry is also present via Zoom.
Thank you, Councillor Fry. I've received applications for a leave of absence from this meeting from Councillor Kamte, and we wish her a speedy recovery. I've also received an application for leave of absence from this meeting from Councillor Harris due to personal reasons. I've also received a note from Alderman De Vries that he will be able to join us until 12, whereafter he has other commitments that he needs to attend to.
Speaker, we also received an apology from Councillor Wilskut.
Thank you. Can we note it as such then? Thank you. Councillor, please.
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to check if Elder Lady right.
I've heard your name just before Councillor Lambertine. Thank you. Can we just get confirmation on that, Councillor Hartnick? She indicated that she will join us a bit later. Not online yet, but she indicated that she will join us later. Thank you. May we then proceed? Item 4 on our agenda is noting the provisions of Schedule 1 of the Code of Conduct for Councillors, as contained in Schedule 1 of the Local Government Municipal Systems Act. We note those provisions. Thank you. Then we move to item 5. That's a disclosure of interest by councillors and or officials, both in terms of the Code of Conduct, and I think it's section 5 of the code for staff members, if I remember correctly. Anybody that would like to declare their pecuniary interest in any of the items we're going to discuss today? I don't hear any voices or see any hands. Thank you. We then move to communications, and I would like to afford our Executive Mayor, Alderman Boyson, firstly the opportunity to address us on his communication. Thank you, Alderman. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Chairperson. Mr. Speaker, you've alluded to the fact that indeed we have lost one of our members, Councillor Danny Simon, and it is so profound, Mr. Speaker, that it is written in the scriptures that there will be a time to come, there will be a time to go. And we're not immune to that as the Garden Route District Municipality. And we have lost quite a few of our members, political colleagues. We have lost some staff members. and some of our staff members have lost loved ones, so that some of us as councillors lost loved ones as well. And indeed, it will never, never, never be the same again. We will always look back at this period in history, and we will remember the ones that we've lost due to various circumstances. But I do want to say, Mr. Speaker, that on behalf of Council, our condolences to the Simon family. We did engage with them, but I want to make this officially, as this is the first official meeting where Councillor Simon will never ever be part of us. And then also, just as an announcement, Mr. Speaker, that this coming Thursday at 10 o'clock, it would be his memorial service, but the communication will go out to everyone, and also to the rest of the people within the Garden Route who would like to join the memorial service offline. And Mr. Speaker, I would also like to welcome, I know I'm probably getting into the territory of our municipal manager. I would like to welcome our adopted staff members from the Human Settlements Department who are now stationed here with us, Ms. Sims and Mr. Joel Kungwana. I would like to welcome them. I know that they are already rock stars, and I know my phone is ringing off the hook, probably theirs as well, in terms of the new breakthrough which we have made as the Garden Route, in terms of us being very, very busy behind the scenes until the people saw what we were busy with last Friday, when ourselves as the Garden Route District Municipality, together with the MEC for Human Settlements, Mr. Simmers, and his staff whom I've mentioned, signed an historical memorandum of agreement between ourselves and the department. And Mr. Speaker, as I was saying, that has set the telephones ringing, which is a clear indication that we've already stepped into a gap where there's a great need. People now want information, and they're very excited in terms of what might lie ahead in terms of our engagement within the Human Settlements Department. We're very excited, and we can't wait to make sure that we show the rest of the province and the rest of South Africa how cooperation can be established between district municipalities as long as the local B municipalities. But Mr. Speaker, we are not, I'm just thinking of the word now, we're not going to pretend as if there are not questions which emanated from this historic event. We are not going to get tired to explain to people, and if need be, we will probably continue to engage with the local B municipalities as well for us to deal with any uncertainty regarding this. But I do want to reiterate, we are not taking away the role or the mandate of the local municipalities. We are partnering, and we want to make sure that everybody benefits, regardless of their status in life, for those who would like to be beneficiaries within the human settlement space. Not just that, Mr. Speaker, on the very same Friday last week, I think it was the 19th, we as the Garden Route District Municipality, we also officially opened the Garden Route Food Pantry, which is something that has been in the making for quite some time. And again, it was an initiative which was triggered by the after effects and the unintended consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Speaker, this is a 1.3 million project over 3 years, but knowing the value of the rand, that will fluctuate from time to time. And it is a discussion which is ongoing, that the purpose is to feed the needy and to make sure that there's dignity within each and every household within the Garden Route, and to make sure that nobody goes home or nobody goes to bed with not having had a meal for the entire day. That is the purpose. And again, I'm reinforcing what I said in the presence of all the other mayors. This is to complement what is happening at local level. We are aware that there are soup kitchens. We're aware that there are people who are feeding people from their own kitchens. This is to complement what they are doing, and even bigger if there's a need that we can distribute supplies from this food pantry as well. Mr. Speaker, we are busy dealing with the contributions because we know that you need finances to get an operation running. We are busy finalizing all the nitty-gritties regarding the financial model of this. There's already a model where each and every municipality would have to contribute. They are dealing with that within their own jurisdictions. We are contributing as a district municipality. But Mr. Speaker, I want to highlight, and I am not sure whether I should do this, but no good deed should go unnoticed. I did not get permission to do this, Mr. Speaker, but because it is something significant, I am now doing it. We would really like to say to Mr. John Lombard, we really appreciate his contribution towards the food pantry. He's leading by example. I don't know whether I should mention the amount which he has donated, Mr. Speaker, but Mr. Speaker, it is in the hundreds of thousands, which he has personally contributed towards this. He is leading by example, and Mr. Lombard, on behalf of everybody in the Garden Route, all the municipalities, all the residents of the Garden Route, we really acknowledge you, we salute you, and you are setting the tone. We will definitely follow suit. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I would also like to put out a challenge to all the councillors and all the officials within the Garden Route District Municipality. Charity begins at home. We need to lead by example. I'm putting this challenge out that all of us, there's also a part that is linked to this project where you buy a brick. You buy a brick for 100 Rand per month. You can either sign a debit order or a stop order, or you can pay it in person. For everyone who have signed on for at least a year, then you can write your name against a brick within the building itself. If it's more than 100 Rand, it's more bricks. So you can put your name, 100 Rand for yourself, your family, your children, etc. You can form your own dynasty there where you have 10 strata bricks as an example. But that would be an indication that we do support this, and it is a combined effort, and it's very exciting, Chairperson. So please, if we can do it, if Mr. Lombard can do it, he has tripled it in fact, then I think the rest of all of us, especially the councillors within the Garden Route, we should follow suit. Mr. Speaker, I'm also very excited if one looks at the items on the agenda. It has got to do with, again, putting food on the table, because the agriculture space is very important at this stage. Food security is one of the big things, but Mr. Speaker, we will deal with that as we go along with the items, and I will then speak to those items. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, what is also very exciting to me, again, it is something that has been coming on for months and years. It is the issue where we always dispute properties amongst municipalities. There's always that dispute where we own pockets of land. Some municipalities believe and feel that it belongs to them. But Mr. Speaker, I'm reiterating this. This is not the battle which we're looking forward to. We don't want to fight with no municipality. Instead, even in that space, we want to form partnerships. And Mr. Speaker, I'm raising this because today is going to be another historic signing between the Garden Route District Municipality and Mossel Bay Municipality, where we will go and sign mutual agreements between the two municipalities in terms of us transferring properties to them, they transferring properties to us, and some of the properties where we jointly going to develop these properties for a better garden route as a district. And I would like to encourage all the other municipalities who might have this in the back of their minds that they're gearing themselves to fight the garden route regarding properties. We will come to you, we will negotiate, and we will ensure that it is a win-win situation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. I cannot forget this. My apologies. You know, no matter what we're going through as a country, you know, all our problems, you know, and all our difficulties which we're experiencing, not just as a district, but as a country. But one thing I've learned, Mr. Speaker, one of the solutions for this country is the education of our youth. And last night, Mr. Speaker, we've listened to the announcements of the results of the matrics. I want to congratulate those who have made it on behalf of the garden route. I would also want to say to those who have not made it, it is not the end of the world. Regard it as a challenge, go and rewrite. There's always room to improve. And we want to say thank you to the parents as well who've endured probably long hours. Some of our children studied during blackouts, etc. But all indications are that they've really pulled it through. And congratulations to everybody. And once again, even those who did not pass, please go back, go and sub, rewrite, and make sure that there's a better future for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Rihanna.
Speaker, you have a hand. Alderman van der Hoeven.
Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven. And that's the only hand? Thank you. Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven. Please proceed. Alderman van der Hoeven and Alderman Gericke, in that order. Alderman van der Hoeven, can you please unmute yourself? Unmute yourself, please, Alderman van der Hoeven. Can we unmute him from our side? Alderman van der Hoeven, my apologies. Can you please unmute yourself? We'll give Alderman van der Hoeven an opportunity after we fix the technicalities. Can I then request Alderman Gericke? Can you then please proceed? Alderman Gericke, can you hear me? I can just say that we cannot unmute you from this side. We can only mute our colleague councillors. So it's your responsibility, please. If you would like to address council, unmute yourself and then proceed. I received a message. Is there any possibility that we are not allowing our colleagues to unmute themselves? Because that's the message that I received.
There I'm unmuted, Speaker, for the first time.
There you are. Thank you. Thank you, Alderman.
The system told me all the time that the host is not allowing us to unmute. So the problem is not with us, it's with the host. So please service the host, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman. I'd just like to say the system will not interfere with the Speaker's authority to allow you to speak. So please feel free and welcome to address us. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, Speaker. I also just want to recognize Councillor Danny Simon. Condolences to him, his family, his friends, his party, everyone involved. He was always one who tried to compromise and to make sure that there's no conflict. So I give him accolades to him. I honor from the ANC caucus all the honor to Councillor Danny Simon. We will miss him. He was always friendly, he was always nice, he was always try to make sure that there's synergy all over. I don't know whether you also experienced him like that. So yeah, it's a huge, all these losses are huge to us. As far as human settlement staff is concerned, I'm sure I haven't seen on the adjustment budget that there are properly provision for funds for the human settlement setup. But I think what we need to do, we had items in this regard here at this meeting, but we need a proper briefing session so that we as all councillors can have a proper understanding of how the process is, especially the funding for the subsidy for people in the income group of 4,000 to 22,000 rand. Surely there's lots of needs in this regard in this district, and we would like to know exactly what processes need to be followed, how we can deal with that, because we deal with those issues on a daily basis. So also the food pantry, I think it's a huge advancement for the district. The dynamic is just that one of our caucus was invited to attend the opening. I think all councillors must get the opportunity to pay a visit and see how it operates and see. Unfortunately, I could not go on that day because I had other commitment, but surely we must make an arrangement that not just chief whips and their delegated person visit these food banks, but please arrange something for us so that all of us can be part of that, and bring the media also in, because the media need to report on it, because if it's not reported properly, then the community will not get the full benefit of it. Yeah, I'm going to conclude by saying to the matriculants, congratulations. I see a girl from Outeniqua with the surname of Roo, is the third highest in the country. So the Eden or the Garden Route district is once again setting the scene. So congratulations to her and her family and Outeniqua High School. I think they deserve it. I raise my case, Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Alderman Verhoeven. Alderman Gericke, please proceed.
Okay, Speaker, thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you, Alderman. Good morning.
Yeah, we must just fix this this thing of mute and unmute. Otherwise, we're going to have a very long meeting if we lose minutes all the time to mute and unmute, because it's what's happened again. Good morning, colleagues, and good morning, Executive Mayor and Speaker. Yes, the passing of Councillor Danny Simon is a great loss to the municipality and to the people of the region, since he played a vital role in the committees and on the structures where he served. He was a humble servant of the people, and with a very inviting attitude, always had constructive conversations, open, transparent conversations about the well-being of the entire of people in the entire region. So we're surely going to miss him, and we convey our sympathies, deepest sympathies, to his wife, his children, his family, the Democratic Alliance, and all other parties that drew some benefit from his life. Mr. Mayor, the breakthrough on the signing of the Human Settlements Agreement is indeed a proud moment for the district municipality, and it will give relief to so many people that are on the housing waiting list for many years, and people that really are in need of houses and of land. I've watched the clip and the media releases by both you and MEC Simmers, and I want to request you this: if you don't do it today, most probably release a statement to give more clarity to the residents of the Garden Route in regard to that agreement. Yes, our phones have been ringing uninterrupted as people inquire about the deal. Now, I want you to correct me if I misunderstand this. In terms of my understanding, that agreement will give effect to those projects, preference to Knysna and Plettenberg Bay. I think this is the item that's served in council. I think people are confused. They are under the impression that that project is also applicable to George and other areas. We just need some clarity on that, so that we are not under attack from the residents, but that we set the record straight as to where we're taking this project and when those projects will arrive in certain towns and in certain areas. That's a great concern. Since last night, I can show you some SMSs and WhatsApps how people are contacting me in this regard. Let us just set the record straight. Then the food bank, it was a collective decision by this council. I have been invited to be there, and I thank you for the invite. I declined on one of the reasons I was unable to understand what the relation between a human settlement MEC and the food bank. I thought it was rather the social development MEC that should open the food bank. I just need some more clarity on that. And then we wish to congratulate our matriculants. Those are the future leaders, the future advocates and judges and scientists. And we are super proud on each and every achievement in our region and also in our country. Then the mayor has touched on municipal land. Yes, I've noticed the item here, Mr. Mayor. And again, I want to just lastly emphasize the need for acquisition of land in the region that are landless, and the acquisition of land to the first people of this region, that we do justice and give the land back to the people whom it belongs to, so that we have, some justice and some reconciliation in our area. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Meyer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the comments by Alderman van der Wouwen and Alderman Gericke. Mr. Speaker, I'm going to start with Alderman Gericke's last question regarding why was it the MEC for Human Settlements who came to the launch of the food pantry. Mr. Speaker, since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, and when the provincial cabinet kicked into action, what the Premier have done, he assigned different MECs to different areas within the Western Cape. And they are called lead MECs for the different jurisdictions within the Western Cape. And MEC Simmers has been assigned by the Premier to be the lead cabinet minister for the Garden Road in his entirety. It's under those under those instructions that it was MEC Simmers, because he's been assigned by the Premier for everything that has got to do with anything COVID related in the Garden Road. That is why it was him. And then, Mr. Speaker, to touch on the George Platt Neisner issue that came up in the MEC speech. Mr. Speaker, and to all the people in the Garden Road, we do not want any confusion. The MOU, which was signed between ourselves and the Department of Human Settlement, is for all 7 municipalities within the Garden Road. The reason why the names came up, George, Neisner, and Plettenberg Bay, they are the biggest challenge when it comes to issuing of title deeds. That is why they were highlighted. The majority of outstanding title deeds are in George, Neisner, and Plettenberg Bay. We must not confuse that, and it's understandably so, where people can confuse it as if projects will only happen there. The focus there is to sort out the title deeds. But human settlements as a development and as a rollout is for the whole of the Garden Road, all 7 municipalities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Rihanna.
Alderman Gericke raised his hand.
I'm going to allow you 2 minutes, Alderman Gericke, because you've spoken already, and the mayor has responded to that question. Clarity that you seek, please proceed. Alderman Gericke, can you hear me? Can I get clarity on the unmute issue? Is there any possibility that we are a hindrance of unmuting people? Because it's not from our side, the way I understand it.
Okay, Elder Lady Wolmerans.
Thank you, Elder Lady. Please
It's
proceed.
definitely not on your side because I can unmute myself. So maybe there's something wrong with the devices.
Thank you. I get an indication. Thank you, Elder Lady. I appreciate that. I see that Alderman van der Hoeven also indicates to me now that he's got the same problem. It could be either the signal that's unreliable, or that the machine, is probably a bit problematic. But the way I experience my tablet is it's extremely functional, and unfortunately, I stay in the Weerbok, but the signal when the plane goes by, it goes off. But it's fine. Can we then proceed? I'm going to do my communications now, and let me first of all say thank you so much, MM, for you and your team for the improvements in this chamber. It makes our work much easier, and we can read from all sides now. There's the old song from both sides now, and I really think from all sides and both sides we can read and we can see what's happening. My sincerest thanks, gratitude and appreciation for what you've done for us in this chamber. And then secondly, I would like to thank our communications section. I'm using what you sent to us with regards to the food pantry, as well as the housing issues. I'm sending that out to everyone on my list. It's very explanatory. And I again reminded people to this earlier this morning, please read again what our communication has sent you. Because it's I find it very, very useful, both of the food pantry as well as the human settlement issue. And I also enjoyed, Alderman Meyer, your perfect Afrikaans yesterday at the Eden FM. I listened to your interview. Ek wil net sê jou Afrikaans is uitstekend. En baie dankie daarvoor. Ek dink dit was gister ook International Language Day. We will celebrate our languages, and we appreciate all of them. They are all jewels which we must cultivate at all times. And then thank you. I would just like then, when I read I forgot my birthday list, but I remember the names whose birthday in March. And it would have been also on the 23rd of March. 23rd would have been Danny's birthday. He was born 23rd of March 1972. But to move on to a less sober note, our very own elder lady, Jolene Balmer, celebrating her birthday on the 4th of March. And then our very own Scatspies, Councillor Rowanspies, he's having his birthday on the 8th of March. And then we have Alderman Peter van der Werven, he's celebrating his birthday on the 10th of March. So my congratulations, happy birthday to you all, and we wish you a very prosperous, peaceful, and a healthy year. That's all from my side. Thank you. Can we then move on? We are now at the communications of our municipal manager. That is started. Thank you so much. Please share with us your communications. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker, and good morning to Executive Mayor and all councillors and colleagues. Just on this issue of the muting and unmuting councillors, we are attending the matter. Our IT guys are working on it. I've seen indeed some of the councillors do get a message that says the host is not allowing to unmute. Please, we are rectifying that. Speaker, just firstly on the institutional issues regarding COVID-19, up to where I'm sitting, Speaker, I have not received any new cases, meaning at Garden Road we have 0 cases of COVID-19. There are no hospitalizations, and therefore that means we are in a very fortunate situation. We have not had formal submission on the cause of death of Councillor Simon for us to say anything if it's related to COVID, so we're assuming that it's not part of the COVID and therefore will not be reported by us as part of the statistics. However, we are continuing with the COVID protocols. There is an item in the agenda giving the update on the COVID-19 status in the region. In terms of the food pantry, councillors are invited to visit the pantry. It's open. Please do visit even on your own. If you would like us to arrange a specific visit, please contact the Community Services Department of Mr. Clive Africa. We'll make those necessary arrangements. And just to emphasize what the mayor was saying, we would like councillors, all of you, to explain your decision to have a food pantry, because it's this council's decision that it is not in competition to whatever is happening in the big municipalities. It is not taking over the work of the soup kitchens. It is not meant to do any harm to what other people have been doing, but it is there to augment whatever it is happening. It is a very good thing for us, so that in times of food parcel distribution and all those logistics that we ensure that the municipality's name is not dragged into discussing how the food parcels and everything else was distributed. That's a very serious mechanism for us to ensure the integrity of this organization. But I think it's important for councillors of this district to explain their own decisions as it relates to the food pantry. Regarding the further capacitation of councillors regarding the human settlements function, we are planning a strategic or institutional strategic planning session for the 16th of March, which we do on an annual basis. Part of that agenda will be a presentation fully on the human settlement function. But I can just say, as the mayor has said, the garden route is coming into this as decided by this council through an accreditation process first, which is still underway. And secondly, through the MOU that has been signed by province and the garden route, it spells out what needs to happen. And thirdly, through the tripartite agreement, which will be signed by the National Department of Human Settlements and HDA, together with the Western Cape Department and with the garden route. And you will recall, councillors, that relates specifically to human settlement strategic projects, one of which was the South Cape Corridor, which is now being extended to include other areas of the garden route. So all those things will be unpacking in the strategic planning session. And we do want our councillors to be very clear that the garden route is not coming into the space of what they call breaking new ground or what you know as RDP. We are getting into the gap space, which is an area that is not serviced in this region, which has been identified by all and sundry. That is an important aspect that we must deal with. Speaker, next, we are expecting the annual audit report this week. You will recall that due to the extension granted by the Minister in Parliament and as acknowledged by this council, our report is supposed to be received by the 28th of February, which is coming Sunday. We are expecting AG to give us our report by Friday. Our last meeting with them is on Thursday. Yes, Thursday. Yes, it's on Thursday to receive our final management report and to maybe discuss any outstanding thing regarding the annual audit report. We are quite positive about this. Yeah, I think, Speaker, those are the items I wanted to share with the councillors. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Municipal Manager. I wrote it down here whilst the Executive Mayor addressed us, and somehow I didn't address Council on this. Mr. Mayor, I take up your challenge, and I want our Finance Department to bring me the what you call it. I pledge 5% of my monthly allowance to that for this term anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, by leading by example.
Rihanna.
We have two hands, Speaker, Alderman van der Hoeven and Alderman Gericke.
Thank you. In that order, Alderman van der Hoeven, Alderman Gericke. I hope the unmute issue is solved.
Yeah.
We need everybody to be able to participate fully in terms of our rule during this meeting.
Thank you,
Alderman.
Speaker. Speaker, now I can unmute. So surely the problem does not lie with us, as Alderman Wolmerans has indicated, but it is with the system. Thank you for allowing me to unmute, Speaker. Speaker, I just want to react to something that we have already addressed previously, and that is regarding your input to the Speaker, and that is the capacity of our tablets. We've got serious problems with the capacity of our tablets because we need to delete all previous agendas when we add new agendas. And surely we for research and for proper preparation, we need to keep our old agendas, say at least for 6 months or even a year. That we page back very often, and then we don't have that information. So please, Speaker, can we do something about the capacity? I don't think it will take such a lot. It will take an extra gadget, whatever, just to add it. But I haven't got the answer for that. But surely the capacity of the tablets does not meet the standards. Speaker, I think then also, Speaker, thank you. There are councillors who've got problems downloading agendas and issues. I would like if IT can just follow up every time we send out the agendas until the system runs smooth. Especially our new councillor, Councillor Nkolo, who inaugurated at the last council meeting. She struggled to get information, to get the systems downloaded, and to get data and all those kind of things. Speaker, it need to be resolved. It's an urgent issue because the tools of the trade are what brings us here and what make us good or bad councillors.
Thank you so much, Alderman Gericke. Surely we will attend to that event. Thank you so much. Alderman Gericke, please proceed.
Okay, thank you, Speaker. I'm not going to be long. I just want to ask. I'm battling or struggling here. I just want to ask. Let us, as a municipality, most probably, communicate the adjustments or amendments to us prior to the meetings properly, if there are any adjustments to the items and stuff. I am on this item of the human settlement agreement. The last item in the last council meeting included only Knysna and Plettenberg Bay. I'm sitting here, I'm paging through this agenda, I'm trying to find the page where it says it has been extended to other municipalities, because it is of vital importance to all of us and to our constituencies. If somebody can just assist me there, most probably I can't see it. Please, thank you.
Thank you, Emir.
Speaker, like I said, we will be doing a full presentation to all councillors at the strategic planning session to really capacitate all councillors about the detail of how implementation is going to unfold. In the last council meeting, we requested council to give us permission to sign the memorandum of agreement and the implementation protocol. That implementation protocol, which must still be developed between all of us, is not finished. Secondly, I was saying, Councillor Gericke is right. The Southern Cape Corridor project that was announced by Councillor Sisulu in 2017 only included Knysna and Pito. I did explain that when the DG of Human Settlements was here, he said they are adopting the district-based model and will therefore extend that project to include areas like Municipal Bay and other areas. Hence, the mayor was saying, the MOU signed with the Department of Human Settlements yesterday covers the whole of that inclusion.
Thank you so much for the clarity. Can we then move on to item 9 of our agenda? That's approval of the minutes of the council meeting that was held on the 22nd of January 2021. Any corrections to those minutes that you would like to make? My congratulations again to the Secretariat, Advocate, Diana, everybody involved in the development of these minutes. You really present me with a challenge nowadays to find anything wrong with the minutes. And I could only find 1 or 2 typos where namens in the Afrikaans version, I'll give you the page number just on a lighter note, these typos at the end. That is one of them. That is on page 29. And garden route in another area is in 1 word. So for only those 2 things, and yeah, I don't mind being called councillor, that's fine. But my congratulations to Secretariat. I think they're doing a sterling job, but it's not easy. You need to ask me about it. It's not easy to do minutes. And never mind minutes during a Zoom or during a virtual meeting. It's not, it's even more complicated. So my sincere thanks to our Secretariat for that, and everybody involved in developing those minutes. We really appreciate our lady, Katrina, and the fellow chair of the committee as well. If there are no hands, I see no hands, I hear no voices, can I then request that you consider and propose the correctness of the minutes as mentioned on page 8 to 30. Thank you, Elder Lady Katrina. Thank you, seconded by Councillor Lose. Thank you. We then move to item 10. That's the minutes of the Mayoral Committee meeting. And later on, we get to the section 80 committee. You find the Mayoral Committee 10.1, pages 31 to 49. You can take cognizance of the good work as Executive Mayor with your team and our Municipal Manager is doing. So can we just take note of those minutes then, please?
Yes, Speaker, I would like to propose that we take note of that minutes.
Thank you so much, Councillor Majid. We then move to the minutes of the Education, Training and Development Committee, as it appears on page 50, page 60. And councillors, you may brag at your D municipalities of what's getting done here in this committee. Yeah, there you've got it. Can we take note of it with thanks and appreciation? Somebody's paging.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Elder Lady Katsinger. Take note of those with thanks and appreciation of both those minutes. Can we then move to item 12? That's the standing items. It's appointments, service exits, and labor relations information for January 2021. And you find it on pages 61 to 69. Thank you, Elder Lady Tracy. Please proceed, ma'am.
Thank you, Speaker. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you, ma'am.
Speaker, at page 62, under 7, we notice that Miss or Mrs. Bella resigned. What we need to know is that, is there any reason why she resigned? Was it personal or health reason? Number 2, on page 65, under in your district progress report, you are indicating that process in progress. Then a question arises in the meantime. Where are these employees based? Are they in service, unpaid, or paid? Lastly, on the issue of
Sorry, Speaker. Sorry, I can't hear anything. Sorry for that.
Thank you, Alderman. We will try to improve on the volume. Please, Elder Lady, if you can just speak a little bit louder. And can I just request the personal information regards employees, we cannot discuss in an open meeting. And I understand your question, ma'am. Understand your question, but that we refrain from discussing personal issues with a specific personnel member. But please proceed, ma'am. No, you may proceed. I think we've heard what you said. Yeah, you may proceed, Elder Lady. Are you?
I've got the same problem that Councillor Gierik has got, Speaker.
Thank you. I think perhaps in the response,
let me start again.
Elder Lady Tracy says she wants to start again. Please proceed, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Speaker. My question was on page 62 under service exit. As ANC, we noticed that Miss or Mrs. Bella resigned. What we need to know is that, is there any reason why she resigned? Was it personal or health reasons? Number 2, on page 65, under disciplinary hearings. In your district progress report, you are indicating that process in progress. Then a question arises in the meantime, where are these employees facing DC? Are they in service unpaid or paid leave? Lastly, on the issue of grievances, how far are we from resolving them? I think.
Thank you, Elder Lady. Can I request our municipal manager to respond to the questions? Thank you, Emmett.
Thank you, Speaker. On the first question of Pumeza Velapi, Pumeza was an intern that came from, I think it's the Cape Peninsula University of Technology. She then applied for a post with us as a SAM employee, and she was employed. And then she came to my office recently with a letter requesting that she resigns her position. In our discussion, she said she is pursuing some greener pastures. It's not a health reason, it's for her to grow. I did express my disappointment because she came as an intern, she became permanent. But then sometimes you can't stop people when they get even better things. So there was nothing untoward about her. On the disciplinary hearings that are in process, you will see, or you will note, and
that is
can you please leave your phones?
That is a fine of let's decide on it later. But yes, thank you. May proceed.
In the ones that you see in the report, those persons are not under suspension, they are working. Because it's not cases that would necessitate a suspension per se. So they are in the employment process. The rest of the grievances, as you can see, Councillor, they are on various stages of labor relations, and we are pushing very hard. But as you know, we depend on the availability of employees. Sometimes they are not well, sometimes they are not ready, sometimes the presiding officer is not ready, sometimes the union is not there. So each case is dealt with according to its own merits, but we are all trying to expedite the processes. So that's the situation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tatistrato. Thank you. That's your portfolio, and Lady Kirchner. 12.1.
Thank you, Speaker. I would just like to thank my department and Trix for this very comprehensive report. I think it says a lot, and then also I see that as far as gender mainstreaming is concerned, that the gap is getting smaller, which is something to look forward to when we have the day that we've got a report that is 50-50. And then once again, I would like the departments to really make a certain effort to employ people living with disabilities. I want to so propose that we accept this report. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lady Kirchner. Thank you, Councillor Spies. Councillor Spies is seconding that. Yeah, I also shared this report with Basel Bay people to say where people living with disabilities, you also engage those associations where they get treatment and where they get catered for. And that's one example of trying to get those people also to apply. Thank you. Can we move on? We are then Section A, reports from the Speaker, none. Section B, reports from our Executive Mayor. B1 is the fourth adjustment budget 2020 to 2021. It's the medium-term revenue and expenditure framework. We find it on pages 70 to page 137. Thank you, Alderman Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are the converted when it comes to these kind of items. And in terms of the Municipal Finance Management Act, Mr. Speaker, I'm tabling this for approval by Council. And also it is good news in the sense that, Mr. Speaker, that it has got to do with some adjustments which are all good for us, because sometimes some adjustments are bad news where you lose money, etc. In this instance, we receive money from the Department of Human Settlements for reasons well documented to us. And then also, Mr. Speaker, one of the other highlights for me in this adjustment budget is also got to do when assets value get increased or we acquire new assets which got a monetary value to it. And in this instance, Mr. Speaker, and I will allude to this later on in one of the items, where desalination plants, if we approve this item today, we will be in possession of managing desalination plants, Mr. Speaker, but I will allude more to that when it gets to that item. I hereby then table this for approval by council. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Executive Mayor. Any input or comments before I ask for a seconder? Anybody? None? No hand? Yes.
Alderman Gericke and then Alderman van der Hoeven.
Thank you, Rihanna. Alderman Gericke and then Alderman van der Hoeven.
Yeah, sorry, Speaker, we are but struggling here to operate these buttons, you know. Yeah, thank you. We are satisfied with this report. I just want to know, there's a beautiful project at the moment which council has approved in the, I think it's in the Department of Planning and Economic. We've dealt with it in the Economic Committee the other day. And in previous meetings, Mr. Mayor, I have pleaded for an increase of funding towards those projects to empower SMMEs. And also the, what is this, the Ferreira Cater Care program. What is the stance of the council on that, or of the executive on that? That it would appear in terms of the reporting in the Economic Committee the last time, is that project to empower SMMEs is a powerful project that's yielding results at the moment. So in order to include more businesses, small businesses for that matter, and partnerships, what is the attitude of this council forward? Speaker, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Alderman van der Hoeven.
Thank you, Speaker, for the opportunity once again. I just want a small issue. I see we are running short of 12 million rand on our operational budget. I just want to check, Speaker, is that good business if we run? Shouldn't we cut somewhere?
Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven. Any other comments or input? If none, Emil,
thank you, Speaker. With your permission, may I request the two HODs to just deal with the two questions? Mr. Yes. Menze on the Cater Care project and the CFO on the budget question.
Thank you, Emil. Please proceed, Mr. Menze.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. The two questions that were asked by Councillor Gericke. Firstly, on the SMME support, there is work that we're doing in terms of our SMME development program.
Speaker, sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt. We can hardly hear. I don't know if there's fault, but you know, the sound is very vague here. Thank you, sir.
Okay, now we're going to use another mic. That it wasn't me. It sounds like ENCA, it wasn't me.
I hope I'll be more audible from here. I was saying on the first question with regards to the SMME development, we do have an SMME development program within our department, which seeks to assist small and medium enterprise across the region of Garden Road. We had the first round of that program that we did with CEDA, where we bought them various materials that they are using to do whatever work that they are doing. And then we had another one that we are doing together with CASIDRA, as well as CEDA, as well as the other entities, where we were evaluating them the last couple of weeks. So there is a dedicated commitment through this council in terms of trying to assist, of course, with the limited resources that are there, but there is work that is currently being done in terms of assisting the SMMEs to ensure that they are growing and also responding to some of the challenges in society. And then the Francois Ferreira Academy, there is also commitment from council. We've just recently signed a 3-year agreement with them to train the employee. Previously, it used to be a one year kind of an agreement, but now there is a 3-year agreement that was signed, I think last month. So to train the young learners who are interested in culinary as well as the other being future chefs and all those things. So we are trying our level best in terms of that. So those are the 2 commitments with regards to our council in addressing that. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Menzi. I would just like to applaud wherever you did your Toastmasters course. You really deserve a certificate without preparation just to do that. Thank you, Toastmaster Executive Manager Menzi. Thank you. Can we now get to our Director of Finance? Our
CFO, Mr. Willem
CFO.
Diager.
Thank you. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, and thank you, Speaker. I think Ms. Alderman van der Hoeven asks a very pertinent question when he says that he notices that the net amount of our budget is currently in a deficit. I think we must just highlight to Council that it is not an unfunded budget. We do have reserves to cover the expenditure that is included in the budget. I think where the budget currently stands is that all municipalities in the Western Cape are struggling to, to table profit budgets or surplus budgets because of the economy and the state of the pandemic we are currently in. For instance, an impact for us is the closure of our resorts during the pandemic, which then had quite a detrimental impact on our revenue, as well as we also include interest on external investments that we earn when we do investments of our money, of our surplus cash, and the interest rates in the market, councils will know, have also dropped significantly, which then meant that we had to reduce our revenue. So the point that we are making is that, yes, there is a net deficit in our current budget. Important to note that it is funded. The MFMA allows for that, for any deficits to be funded from accumulated surpluses, which we are fortunate enough to have. I think an important point then going forward is that the strategy to see what we can do to improve our revenue base, which I think has been discussed at various platforms, and those discussions are continuing in all earnesty to make sure that we do not continue for a long period of time to table deficit budgets, because at some point, of course, there will be a question of whether those can be funded or not. But for this budget, for the current year under review, it is a funded budget. And then we will make every attempt through the strategies that Council is aware of, and through the next planning phase for, lying before us for preparation of the IDP and the budget for next year. Those strategies will be discussed in more detail, which would then, it will then have to translate into an improved net position on the budgets for the coming years. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much, CFO. Can you close off for us before I request the seconder? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm saying this, and I know it's going to need another debate or approval for another council meeting, but because the CFO touched on it, and especially the issue of the resorts, and myself and the CFO and the MM spoke about this, that we are bleeding money out of those resorts, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I'm raising this here. We know that we've embarked on a program regarding the resorts. And I'm saying now here, Mr. Speaker, that the councillors must please apply their minds. I would like us to revisit. We've learned out of that mishap, or what's it called? Mishap that happened in Calitzdorp Spa. and I would like to revisit our thinking regarding the results, because it cannot continue like this. And but probably I'll have to bring it. I don't know, probably have to bring it again. But I am determined that that mistake won't happen again.
Thank you, Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Speaker. In the strategic planning session, councillors will be tabling a report on the properties and some of the proposals that are coming up. As the mayor said, whatever mishap happened in Kalisdorp has been rectified, but we just maybe need to think out of the box as we sit here and everywhere, that some of the things are out of our hands. For instance, for Kalisdorp, that claim by the family has not been addressed as yet, and therefore whatever we do, we should take into account that there's a claim that is there, and the Land Claims Commission doesn't seem to be prepared to take any decision. Maybe it's high time to think out of the box and see how maybe together with those claimants we can move forward to ensure that the SPA actually becomes profitable. And any other resort that anybody has a claim, maybe it's high time that we sit down and had mutual considerations and move forward as a group. So those proposals will be coming at the strategic planning session. Thank you.
Thank you, for progressive out-of-the-box thinking. In response, we've got a proposal. Can we get a seconder then for this item D1?
Speaker, I seconded the proposals. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Baji. My apologies, Councillor Speaker. Right. Thank you. B2 is the revised annual report process plan for 2019-2020 financial year. Pages 138 to 144. No, I again, I'm not going to comment on the heading. It's technical, and I request our Executive Mayor please present to us B2. Thank you, Executive Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, this is indeed one of those reports where you can either find something or you can create something out of it. But I just wanted to table it, Mr. Speaker, and obviously there's a process we need to go through it. We've gone through it. That we accept this as council. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comment or input on this matter? If none, we've got a proposal. Can we get a seconder?
Again, Mr. Speaker, I would second the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Baji. We then move to section C. It's reports from the Office of our Municipal Manager. C1 is requested to suggest adjustments on the service delivery and budget implementation plan 2020 to 2021, pages 145 to 150. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I propose that we accept the report.
Thank you. Any input or comment on this report? It is the prerogative of the Executive Mayor, anyway, to present the SDBIP, consider it, and to present it to Council. You've got it. Thank you. I've got a seconder. Thank you, Elder Lady Kurtzinger. Can we then move to section D? That is the items from the Financial Services Department. Deviation report, the implementation of the supply chain management policy for the period 1st December 2020 to 18 December 2020, pages 151 to 155.
Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Majid.
Speaker, I propose that we accept this report as is. Thank you very much.
Is it possible that we can deal with D1 and D2?
Council of amended 2020-21 SDBIP as required by legislation.
That doesn't sound to Minister Tito Mbuweni. Can you please identify yourself?
Speaker.
Thank you.
Speaker,
can you give me an opportunity? I was trying to say, is it possible that we can deal with D1 and D2 at the same time? Both deviations report, it's just a period that's extended.
I support that, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Then we move it that we deal with those two items simultaneously. Thank you. Any comment or input?
Speaker, I have difficulties with my hand, so I can't really.
Thank you, Councillor Mangaliso. Please proceed, Ntate.
Thank you, Speaker, for the opportunity. I just have two questions in relation to the deviation report. I've noted that the deviation report for this is for December and November. If I can just get to this thing. The first one deals with the December period. When we look at the November expenditure, when we look at the November expenditure is 58,000, and then the December deviation is 119,900 and some odd cents. I believe that there's a sharp rise. There's a sharp rise in terms of the deviation for December as opposed to November. I just needed some clarity in terms of that. When we continue on further, we see that the major part of the expenditure relates to where is this? Relates to the appointment of a I am struggling to run through this particular, I think it's item 2. It's item 2 on the annexure for the approved deviations on the 14th of the 12th, 2020, which relates to appointment of the Bowman attorneys. I just needed to understand why we spend so much money on the appointment of legal support for the landfill site process. For the landfill site. After we have known about the private person or the private partner that has withdrawn some time ago, but only in December we paid that particular amount to the attorneys.
Thank you.
That's the one component. My apologies for the delay.
No, there's no need to apologize. You're welcome. It's good to hear your voice again, Councillor Mangaliso. Any further input before I ask our municipal manager to respond to the questions raised? I don't see any hand or any voices. Can I then ask our municipal manager to respond, please?
Thank you, Speaker. The observation by Councillor Mangaliso is correct, that if you compare the expenditure in November and the expenditure in December, you see a spike from 55,000 rand to 119. Indeed, it is caused by one big item, which is the legal opinion we obtained from the firm of the Balam Incorporated Attorneys. Councillors will recall that all these opinions have been brought to council already, just as the start. But throughout the process of the P arrangement with Interwaste, since they started their programs early during COVID, we've been coming to council to explain that these are the challenges we're facing. And many people have been asking, after all this time, what are our options? What rights do we have? So this was the last opinion that we were requested to seek, to say, having listened to everybody, please get an opinion accompanied by a senior counsel opinion on what are the rights of Garden Route. This is what we have done. The report has already said, but as we know, senior counsel never comes cheap. And this is a very protracted and complicated transaction with lots of legal work that has happened. And that is the only reason you see the spike. And I think if you look at all the opinions you brought, it's market related in terms of the fees that were charged. On the second one, Speaker, it's also from my office. I think it's a spike of about 30,000 rands. That's a mandatory affiliation to a professional institute of internal auditors, which we need to pay. We can't ask for 3 codes from institutions. We have to join that one, and that's how much it costs. So that's the difference.
Thank you, Deputy Stato. Thank you, and we've got a second councillor's piece. Can we then please move on? That's for D1 and D2. Can we then move to D3?
Speaker, just a quick question.
Yes, Mangaliso, you're welcome.
Thank you. When we look at the first deviation component, it says December 119,000, and when we open up in the next deviation, January, the December amount is 120,000 and some odd cents. Is there any reason why we have that discrepancy? Somewhere we might have miscalculated, or maybe my maths is not that good. The other quick question I just needed to ask is that I've seen that the reason for the leadership, is it the Leadership Academy? The item number 5, the deviation motivation there is that the tender is being re-advertised and the payment will be made because the tender process failed due to the market not responding. Is there any reason why this market is not responding, so that we don't perpetuate the very same process again and then come with the very same motivation again and say the market is not responding? Do we have any understanding as to why we are not receiving tenders for air liquid gas cylinder rentals? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mangaliso.
Speaker, in the first one, I think, CFO, you can help us to correct the report. There's a discrepancy of 1,000 rand between the 113 in the December report and the opening or the closing total of December in the January report, which is 120. So it's 113 and 114. Those are the figures the councillor is talking to. I think that's a small discrepancy, which you can just clarify. Speaker, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I didn't get the second part of the question.
The second part, Councillor Mangaliso.
Repeat. Item number 5 on page 162, roads and planning services. The deviation motivation for item number 5, which is air liquid gas cylinder rentals, indicates that the tender process failed due to market not responding. So this deviation is for the second attempt for procurement in process. Is there any reason, do we have any understanding as to why this market is not responding to these tenders? Because if we don't have an understanding as to why the market is, challenges are, I think we would have this very same item in the next council meeting again. So is there any understanding as to why the market is not responding for on this particular tender?
Speaker, through you, I'll give a generic answer, but maybe ask the officials concerned if there's a specific reason for this. But the generic answer is that the market behaves the way it wants to behave sometimes. Sometimes they are just not interested. For instance, there are shops or suppliers that are not even interested to be in our database. They just tell you, no, we're not interested to do business with the state. So from time to time, you'll find those. But specifically for this one, I'm going to just ask, with your permission, if Mr. Stradom is in the meeting, just to say if he knows or recalls any specific reason for this particular one.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can I then proceed?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Speaker. Yeah, I know about the acetylene and oxygen, and the market didn't respond as we like them to do. but it was approved and to a specific firm, and then that firm informed us again that he don't want to proceed. So as I understood now, and Mr. Tabelu can maybe help me if I'm wrong, but we're in process to advertise again and to start again from page 1. Thank you.
Thank you for that response. Can we then move on? We've got a proposal in second, clarity of sort. Other lady Christina. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Spies. Can we, everybody still on board?
Yes, Speaker.
Thank you.
Yes.
One of the speakers that I work with always asks, are we still together? So I think we are still together. Thank you. Can we then move to the next item? D3 is the cost containment reporting, quarter 2 of 2020 to 2021, pages 163 to page 195. You've got the report. Any input or comment on this report? Thank you, Elder Lady Katsina.
And Chairperson, I so second the proposal.
Thank you, Alderman, the Executive Mayor. No further input or comment. Can we then move to F1? It's an update report of the actions taken by the District COVID-19 Command Council to address the COVID-19 pandemic, pages 168 to page 94. Again, Mr. Africa, Mr. Otto, our fellow chair, we honestly appreciate what you've been doing. Is it more than a year now? We never thought that's going to last this long and it's going to have this impact. And you really assisted us go through getting through the stormy water still. Thank you, Mr. MM. Would you like Mr. Otto to further enlighten us on this matter, or can we just take note of it with thanks?
Thank you, Speaker. We would like Council to take note, but there is a very short PowerPoint presentation that Mr. Otto has shared this morning that gives us just the latest statistics and trends. If you may allow, Speaker, for him to, Rihanna, do you have the report, or must he share from his side? Okay, Mr. Otto will share from his side, Speaker.
Thank you. I see that Rihanna is looking into Ansaki if she can find the report. Jy het hom gekry. Okay. No, thank you, Mr. Otto. You're welcome. Please proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Good afternoon, councillors. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I'll be very quick today. As you can see on the graph that I'm showing now, that is the comparison between the first and the second wave of COVID infections. And you can clearly see that we have now actually reached the lower part of the first wave. So we are similar to where we were on the beginning of our first wave. And if I move over to the current status, you will see that we have now got 396 active cases. And I've looked at how the case load came down, or active cases came down since the 20th of January when last we met. There's on average 84% less active cases now than there was a month ago. So the area that has shown the most decrease is Mossel Bay with it's Bito with 95% cases less now than a month ago. So that looks very good. If I look at the active cases per 100,000 of population, again for the district, we're now on 65, in line with what the Western Cape figure is also on 65 active cases per 100,000 of population. And then lastly, just indicating each of the areas, how this has gone down over the various districts, the municipal areas. And then also I need to just highlight our fatalities. Our fatalities now is about 1,275. That is 150 more since we last met, which is an increase of about 13%. Just the status quo, as you've indicated, there's a further decrease active cases. There was a slight increase in the last 7 days, but this was just cases that was reported late, which will now be reflected. Ongoing planning is being done for the COVID vaccination program. And then, as I've indicated, the deaths. Lastly, just quickly, the situation is greatly improved in terms of our hospitals. We now have a total of 22 people in the hospitals in George between the combined state and provincial hospitals, which is the last time we had this position was on the 6th of November. So it's very positive. And then the vaccination program, phase 1 will be for health workers, as you know, and the George Hospital will be the physical site where vaccinations will be done. We expect to receive the first Johnson & Johnson vaccines within the next 2 to 3 weeks. When you look at our Q&I facilities, quarantine and isolation facilities, that also looks very good. At this point, we have got only 10% usage in Pantry SA, 7% at the Gateway Lodge, and Preekstoel is empty. And I can also indicate that Preekstoel will close at the end of this month, and the nursing personnel that have been recruited to manage the site will be deployed to other health facilities. So that is the position at this point, Speaker. I'm open for questions if there's any.
Thank you very much, Mr. Otto. Justice, please.
Just want to know if Mr. Otto can organize now that we can get Christmas and New Year's back.
I'm sure that we will elect them. Thank you. Alderman van der Westhuizen and Alderman Gericke, in that order, please.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm not going to be long. I just want two issues that I want to raise. Number one is what we gather here is that the lock-in works. And all the resistance to the lock-in shows that it was yeah, I'm trying to find a word. Get me a word, but it was unnecessary. Even I want to even take on the mayor of George, who complained about the lock-in and the closing of the beaches and whatever. This thing, the lock-in works, and we must appreciate it, and it saves our lives. Then don't close any facility as yet, because it is far from over, unless we are all, or 60% of us are vaccinated or receive the vaccine. Then there's no, you can't even talk of the virus that is behind us. I think everything must be in place, because a third wave and even a fourth wave is not not out of the question. So please let us be on the alert. And the reason why we are the cases are down is because we are completely on the alert, and every one of us knows someone who has died, and that has made us to be on the front foot. So and we cannot, there's no way we can relax now.
Thank you, Alderman van der Westhuizen. Alderman Gericke.
Yes, thank you, Speaker. Mr. Otto, Mr. Africa, through the Speaker, thank you very much. There's a tremendous amount of improvement in the situation in the district. We can see it on the figures that you provide to Council here today. We are satisfied that there's a downward spiral, or as they say, to curb the spread. So yes, we are satisfied. I'm certain, in terms of your last presentation, if we take a proper breakdown, the COVID-related deaths predominantly apply to your poorer areas, if I'm correct. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a marginal percentage of your upper class or wealthy people that have been affected for that matter. It brings us to this thing of social distancing again. The poor needs to, proper sanitation, proper ablution facilities, and so on and so on, proper housing, and so on and so on. So we still have major challenges in those areas, although there's some progress made. I've read somewhere that they were talking about the third wave. I'm not sure. People are disputing the third wave. I'm not in that league. But we have to prepare. We got to be vigilant. We cannot rest now. I agree with Councillor Alderman van der Woofen. But I just want to ask you, you have just briefly touched on the vaccination program. I think it's of interest to the people of the Garden Road to know, over and above the fact that the main station will be at the George Hospital. Do we have a specific rollout plan for the district? What is the rollout plan and who will be targeted first? We hear on the national level that they're talking about the frontliners that will be targeted first. Point taken, we support that narrative or notion, but we have frail and elderly and those type of people in our communities that also need to be targeted. What is the attitude of this district or this program, for that matter, towards the rollout? And I just want to understand clearly, what is the rollout plan? I understand within 2 weeks' time, the first jabs will arrive, and so on and so on. But what is the actual plan? How are you going to roll it out? Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Jerika. I don't know, Mr. Otto, would you like to respond first?
Speaking, yes, in terms of the last question first, the vaccination program, as indicated, is run by the research team. The jabs that we're getting, or the Johnson & Johnson vaccination, is specifically for the research part still of Johnson & Johnson. So we expect about 2,000 vaccinations doses to come for the first round, and then every 2 weeks more will come. We have not had privy to the final vaccination rollout that is developed by the Department of Health in collaboration with the research team from Johnson & Johnson. So as soon as I get that, Councillor, I will make sure that you do get that. But for now, it's only the George Hospital that has been identified as the main base, and then for the Western Cape, Grootersdorp and Tygerberg. Yes, you are correct. It is the frontline workers that is now targeted, but it's also, they can say if they want to have it or not, so it's voluntary. And they're also looking at specific frontline staff, not all health staff. So that is because there's many more needed than what we're going to receive. But going forward, there's talks going on. I know that the National Command Council also met this morning. I received an update from Dr. Tao during this council meeting, where he's indicated that the Presidential Coordinating Committee will then discuss now the feedback from the National Command Council, and these include some plans in terms of the vaccination, and I know that they will make a final report to Cabinet. So we can expect a feedback from Cabinet, again, a final statement within the next couple of days, specifically with regards to this. And then Councillor van der Woofen, yes, the third wave remains a possibility and likely, and the resurgence plan will also be tabled to Cabinet that was developed by the Department of Health. Once we get a copy of this, I will also make that available to councillors. That is from my side.
Thank you very much for that.
Speaker, you have a hand. Councillor Chaba.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Councillor Chaba.
Good afternoon, Speaker. Good afternoon, Council.
Thank you, ma'am.
My question is that we all know that by the time of the winter, as much as now we are in February, but coming off winter and having not rolled out yet the vaccine, as we say, the third wave coming through. But according to our trends, how likely is it that, because I agree with my comrade Chief Whip, Alderman, that we cannot, we cannot relax now, because in terms of our planning and in terms of us being ready for the third wave, how likely according to the trends? I know that the last meeting, there was something of that nature, but then we see now the numbers, which is good, that are coming down. But we know that each and every winter it's going to be a problem. So how are we ready for that? And are we able to at least that wave, so that at least it doesn't hit us like before, and with all the knowledge and the precautions that we know now what needs to be done. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Councillor Java. Can I get Mr. Otto, please, if you would like to respond to that?
Speaker, yes, I'm privy to some information that not everyone sees. And yesterday I saw a report of the blood bank where they have tested people that donate blood for antibodies. And what they have found thus far is more than 50% of the people that has donated blood showed signs of antibodies for COVID, which is a very positive, to me, it's very positive because it indicates that maybe there's even more herd immunity than we think or that we are aware of. So it's still early days. I'm banking on, although we know there's going to be a third wave, I hope that our region has reached a very high level of herd immunity already. And the only way to beat this is to fast track the vaccination program. So hopefully we can fast track that, and hopefully we have got more herd immunity than what we are aware of.
Thank you so much, Gerard. There you've got it, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues.
Speaker.
Thank you. Is that Alderman Gericke?
Yes, sorry, my hand is up, then it disappears, then it's up, then it disappears again. I just have a follow-up, and this is quite a serious question. Mr. Otto, we understand on a national level how they have categorized your frontliners, i.e. health workers and so on and so on. What is the attitude towards councillors for that matter? And I ask this in the light of, we councillors work a lot with people, interact with people, and is expected to interact with people. We are being called out and people want to meet us and so on. And it's sometimes very scary because you go out, you meet people, you got to come home back to your family and to your children. And it's sometimes very uncomfortable, so to speak. Would you consider vaccinating councillors or including councillors in the first round? Mr. Otto, thank you very much.
Thank you, Gerard. Daar's 'n vraag of kan raadslid eers gespreek word?
Speaker, at this point, the first round is only for healthcare workers in the front line, not even all healthcare workers. But I can inform the councillor that the round just following on that includes all essential workers. And what we have done, we have identified all our councillors as essential workers because we feel they do perform an essential service out there in our communities, and we have included them already in our request as being essential workers. So for now, for the first, as it's only research still being done, it's only healthcare workers, but essential workers to follow just after that.
Thank you, the
thank you, Speaker.
Colleague workers, you've heard that. Thank you, proposal, Speaker.
Before I propose, Speaker, I would like to donate my vaccine to some young lady that is working somewhere and still has small children to raise. So I really would donate mine with biggest pleasure. I want to propose, thank you, that you accept this report.
Thank you. I'll follow suit. I'll also prefer a young lady with children.
I couldn't hear that, Speaker. Speaker, can you just summarize what has just been said? I could not hear it.
No, Pete, you know what's happening? It is the Donald Trump brigade that is rejecting the vaccine. The Donald Trump brigade.
Die twee chief hoopskinne, listen op my donate.
Ja nee, wil ek aan myne ook maar kry. Ek het genoeg spyt in my lewe gehad. So, and Gerard, thank you also for the offer that weddings are now allowed. I unfortunately have to decline. I'm not going to use that one. So
Donald Trump.
Like to get married, you can now do your thing. You had enough time during COVID to reconsider getting married again. So good luck to you. Thank you. Can we then move on? It's G1 is the proposed upgrading of the Divisional Road 1263 and Divisional Road 1297, Slangerrivier, Western Cape reference, long one, 16, stroke 3, stroke 3, stroke 6, stroke 5, stroke D5, stroke 16. There's a long number plot die. Maintenance in the management plan. You've got it, pages 196 to page 225. G1. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
Speaker, the details are in the report.
Yeah.
So I'd like to propose that council takes note. But I'd also like to recommend that
Cannot hear speaker.
Thank you. The request by Councillor Spies is that this report also be sent to the B municipality and the executive mayor as well of what's going to happen within this area of jurisdiction. Alderman van der Werven.
Thank you, Speaker. I've just got a question, and that is, why is this item here? It's here for taking note, but why? Yeah, we do receive the agendas of the roads and roads committee, whatever. But this one has been brought here seemingly for a very specific reason. Just give clarity to us.
Thank you. Any further input or comment on this report? Thank you, our executive mayor and the MN.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't understand why would we question our daily duties as a council when it's presented to us. Roads is within the garden route and it's within this institution. So all reports needs to come through council and we need to take note of this. So I don't understand why would, because also, Mr. Speaker, if we don't bring certain items to council, that might be another accusation that things are being swept under the carpet.
Thank you, Alderman. Amen.
No, Speaker, I was just going to say the purpose of the report is to inform council about the maintenance management plan for a water course in Slangerrivier. And the recommendation is that council take note of the maintenance plan for a water course triggered by activities under the project. That's why the report is here.
Thank you. For a proposal and a seconder.
Chair, can I second Councillor Spies' recommendation?
Thank you, Councillor Ben van Wyk. So, 'n mooi sterk stem moet daar deurkom van oor die berg af. As ons eendag aftree, dan kan ek en jy dit dalk oorweeg om predikante of so iets te word. Thank you. Can we move to H1? That's a request for in principle decision to pursue a project funding agreement with International Diverse Innovative Solutions, which I limited. You've got the report, it's page 226 to 349. Any comment on input on this report? Yes, Rihanna.
Councillor Chaba raised the hand.
Councillor Lichaba, please proceed, ma'am.
Thank you, Speaker. For me, it's just just in terms of clarity, because I know it's a legal term to have a decision in principle, but at the same time here we're talking about persuading projects. So I would have thought that this decision of council is to give them the MM to move forward, and when the agreement, because we need to understand what are the terms and conditions, And from where we're sitting now, we do not know what is the terms of conditions and also what is the criteria. So I was just thinking that if then we are doing that, then we are doing it to give a go ahead to work on the project, to work on the finality and then an agreement will come to council. And then we look at the terms and conditions, and then the agreement is signed. Please, I just need that clarity, because we must understand as council what are we getting ourselves into. It's a good initiative. I applaud the MM and the honorable mayor for this initiative. However, for us, we need to have this agreement. We must be able to see in totality what is it, and also then in terms of what also other the programs, in terms of which projects are this that are we undergoing, so that there is when this project, so that you can get a buy-in, a proper buy-in on the matter. But I think that it's a great initiative. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Chava. We don't only get wise men, we also get wise women, wise ladies. Any further input or comment? Amen.
Thank you, Speaker. I think Councillor Chaba is correct. And Speaker, I'm just going to propose 1 or 2 amendments to the recommendation. The first one should remain. Then 5.2 should read that any agreement to be signed under this project funding process should first be submitted to council for pre-approval before signature. And secondly, we amend 5.2 that becomes 5.3, that management identify projects that will be eligible for funding in line with IDIS criteria, after which such identified project must be submitted to council for approval before implementation. Then it takes care of that concern that we might be agreeing with staff behind council. Thank you.
Thank you so much, MM.
Thank you so much, MM.
That is the legal jargon explained in normal language. Thank you, Rihanna. And Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just for council's information, is that this item also served in the DCF, because if one reads the nitty-gritties of the item in front of us, it deals not just with a specific municipality, but the capability is there to deal with all municipalities within the garden route, as an example. So the Bs are aware of it. And once again, leading by example, we're gonna, as the MM was making the amendments, due diligence will be done. If this works, will be a showcase, and we will go and assist and encourage the local municipalities within our district also to benefit out of this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. Yeah.
Alderman Gericke.
Alderman Gericke, anybody else? Then it's Alderman Gericke, then we conclude the issue. Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Please proceed.
Okay, Speaker, thank you. I have a different approach to this item, quite different and quite serious. You are dealing here with to obtain approval from council to take an in-principle decision to pursue project funding agreement. And then you're dealing with a company or an institution called IDIS. Now, I think Councillor Lachaba has rightfully said, we are not privy to what type of projects we are dealing with, have been targeted. We are not privy to that information. We're just reading about the background here and the projects and so on from this institution or from this company. I think the wise thing would be that the council, this council of this municipality, gets together and target projects and say, this is what we want. And now we mandate our municipal manager to go and pursue project funding for those type of projects. I know that you've proposed, Mr. MM, the other way around, that you do amendments and then that will authorize you to go and do, to go and pursue that funding or those projects. But let us first sit down. Let us first agree on some projects, because these projects must meet the requirements of, in terms of Section 84 of the Systems Act, the roles and responsibilities of a district municipality. And we need to understand whether those projects are needed, what communities need those projects, what are the spin-offs of those projects, and so on. And we also need, obviously, this IDIS is not coming into this area just to splash money and to say, oh, yes, Father Christmas, we're going to give you some money. Obviously, they want spin-offs. They want value for their money, so to speak. And how, if they want value for their money, what is the implication for this municipality? If we make a loan, or if this is connected to a loan, how are we going to pay this back? And what is the incentive for them in order to come into this region to splash 10 billion rand for that matter? We got to understand the financials to this before we can apply our minds. Otherwise, we're going to plunge our citizens, the 600,000 citizens of the region, we're going to plunge them into debt, and we have to pay back, and we're going to run short for money for service delivery. This is my take on this. I have other information on this, but I'm not going to share this here now. But I'm saying I am not in favor as it stands. Bring the projects so that we deliberate the projects and understand what is needed, how we're going to move forward, and how is it going to benefit the region, and what are the financial implications for the municipality in this regard. Thank you very much indeed, sir.
Thank you, Alderman. I will now ask our accounting officer, Mr. Meyer, would you like to come in before he does? Or thank you, Emil.
Thank you, Speaker. Obviously, the concerns of councillors are understandable. It's not all the time that we have an opportunity to access foreign direct investment. And being a South African person, I know that it's always a question as to why this and why that. But just to be direct, Councillor Gerike, last month, this council approved an investment prospectus for the region that includes all local municipalities. That prospectus is a basis from which projects are already lined up. But over and above that, our IGP contains a number of projects and so on. We are finalizing our growth and development strategy, as we have said. That is an overarching document for us. So the projects are not going to flow from any secret place. However, I have said, Speaker, in amending 5.2, that when that management identify projects that will be eligible for funding in line with the IDIS criteria, after which those projects must be submitted to council for approval. So we take the prospectus and say, here are the projects that qualify for IDIS criteria. We bring them to council and say, here are the projects that we're proposing must be implemented first. And it is only this council that will say yay or nay. Then we can move forward. In terms of the other concerns, the mayor is correct. We are doing serious due diligence in terms of all the legal prescripts, from unsolicited bids to all the risks and compliance issues that are raised. We're not the only municipality in the country that is engaged in this process, and we are learning from the other municipalities that have moved far ahead of us. So, Speaker, that is the situation.
Thank you so much, for the clarity. Thank you, as it Alderman van der Woofen, and then I'm going to ask our Executive Mayor to close the matter. That's fine. Thank you, Alderman van der
No,
Woofen.
my hand is up, Speaker.
Is it a follow-up?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
On the clarity that the NM provided?
Yes, sir.
Yes, a quick one. Thank you, Alderman.
No, you can ask Alderman van der Woofen can speak. I will follow. It's fine.
Thank you, Alderman van der Woofen.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I just want to make sure that we don't react on proposals made by other people, that we react to our own proposals. We must be proactive. We must invite people and organizations and institutions for submissions and proposals, but we need to be the ones that decide which of those proposals are the proposals that we're going to fund and that we are going to support and that we are going to back. Seemingly, Speaker, it seems to me, I'm not sure about that, but it seemingly we are reactive in this case and not the proactive that we should be.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke, and then I'm asking the Executive Mayor to close the matter for us. Please, thank you.
Yeah, Speaker, I again agree with Elder van der Woofen. But the thing is, once we have debated and approved the IDP should be in alignment with the budget. This is what the law says. So just to clarify that point, the thing is, here you're dealing with, an all due respect, you are dealing with people that are soliciting money from somewhere and they're bringing it into the country. We do not know where these monies are coming from, who wants to hijack our cities, who wants to manipulate processes in our cities. We need to know the background. We need to know the full background before we can say yes or nay to these type of applications. I'm adamant about this, sir. We need to know where's it coming from. What overseas country wants to take over our resources here? We need to know this. And we need to know what do they want in return for what they're coming to do here. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Alderman. Can I now ask our Executive Mayor to close the matter? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, all these concerns, human nature, this is how we're supposed to think, etc. But there's one word, Mr. Speaker, that binds all of this together, and the MM alluded to this, and he has brought that into his amendments. It is called due diligence. All of this will come out in due diligence before we say yes or nay. That will come back to council, and if we're not happy, it will be nay. If we're happy, then it will be yes. That's the due diligence will be done as per the recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. Amen.
Just for information, Speaker, we will arrange an opportunity, probably at the strategic planning session, for IDs to present to council, so that any question that councillors have, they can ask, they can get responses. So where the money comes from, how this thing all operates. And I just want to also ask that there is quite a lot of information on the item itself that can be used as a basis for that engagement that we'll organize. Thank you.
Thank you. No, I would just like to say to our MM, I posed a question during the Governmental Relations Framework workshop, SALGA, and a certain Dr. Mortimer responded to my question. And the question that I raised was, what prohibits a council? I'm not talking about councillors being part of a bid committee. I'm talking about a council. What prohibits a council to receive presentations? And the response that I received at Saga was, be careful, it would be identified as an unsolicited bid. So I'm just sharing with you that yes, speakers, at times we must apply our minds and we must listen and learn from whoever can really educate us on issues. But thank you. We've done with that item. Good luck with the preparations and all the hard work that needs to get done on that item. And I think Mr. Executive Mayor, you also said that I was waiting for Alderman van der Woofen to say that we remain the enabler and we create an enabling environment. But yeah, let's move on. It's H2. It's a report on the proposed project of the Klein Karoo Export Agri Hub. You find it on page 350 to page 363.
Speaker.
I'm listening.
It's Councillor Matiwani this side.
Good afternoon, Councillor Matiwani. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Speaker, and everyone else to the meeting. Speaker, I have these various questions that I want to ask. Firstly, to the item itself. Sorry, my hand is not working here. I want to ask, in the report itself, it said Clean Carol Expo Agri Hub. How many members are forming that Agri Hub? Moving again, Chair, in the report itself, it said 10% will be reserved for small-scale farmers, which are black or colored, whatever color that you can call. These people will be allocated 10%. How have they arrived to 10%? Moving again, Chair, from that, how did they claim as well that 10 of that 10% must be 10 farmers? Going to page, Chair, I'll tell you now. Going to page 356, Bullet said in the need establishment of 200 hectares of formal grade by August 2021. The amount that is required to export such a project is 200 hectares that is going to be exported within this year. I want to know, out of that 200 hectares, how many are those hectares are for the BEE component? And I still have questions, sir. Let me reserve others when on the round two. Thanks, Speaker.
I would like you, Councillor Matawani, not to reserve the other questions for later, but please proceed in presenting them to us now. And then we can respond to that after you've made your questions. Please proceed with the other questions if you've got. You're welcome to do that.
Speaker, if I can get a reply, then I'll say whatever that I want to say after the reply, or maybe I'll ask from the answers which I'll get.
Thank you. You will be awarded an opportunity for clarity. No problem. Thank you, Alderman Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm going to respond as per the questions raised. But also, Mr. Speaker, when we dealt with this, I would probably give detailed background in terms of the items serving in front of us. Mr. Speaker, if one reads this item, in fact, the totality is 1,000 hectares. It is 1,000 hectares when this project has been realized. And just to come back, currently, this farm is operational. Currently, they're productive on 50 hectares. They are exporting, and they're exporting to Egypt. And from Egypt, it goes to the various cities overseas. And also, Mr. Speaker, that if this project is realized, the 1,000 hectares, it would be the biggest pomegranate in Afrikaans. This, I can't pronounce this. This would be the biggest granate farm in South Africa, exporting to the rest of the world. Currently, the biggest is in Limpopo, but I've been part of the discussions and the research regarding this. The biggest farm is in Limpopo. The second is in the Western Cape, which is your Cape Winelands area. But we have the best climate. This 50 hectares is the best out of South Africa in terms of color, in terms of taste, in terms of nutrition, everything that goes with it, because it's the right climate. This is a semi-desert kind of fruit. To come back to the 10%, this is a proposal, Mr. Speaker, coming from them. They are proposing this. Now, on whether we want more or not, that can come out in the negotiations. We're just saying here that we love the idea. It is part of the bigger scheme. And out of the negotiations, you know, the MM can come up with what would we like to see as the garden route. But this is the initial thing. And also, Chairperson, this 10 farmers, the proposal in front of us is saying they will avail 10 hectares for empowerment, which means it's a farmer per hectare. 10 hectares. Yeah. So it is, yeah, 10, it's 10 hectares, my apologies. They will avail 10 hectares for empowerment. So then the empowerment farmers can then decide in terms of how would they like to see this unfold. But that would all come out in the negotiations as well. But I will reserve as the council have requested, and then I will go into detail in terms of the total background and where this stems from. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just a second.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I forgot on the 200 hectares. This 50 hectares is currently what they're using to export, but they've already clinched agreements with the very same overseas market and to export more. And for them to be compliant with that, they need to develop 200 hectares as we speak. So the best next step is for that farm to be, for 200 hectares to be productive so that they can then comply. I don't know what is the word. Yes, so that they can comply with the demand as per the agreement. And they've already planted the 200 trees.
Sure. Reminds me of my youth many moons ago with eggs. Thank you. Can I ask our municipal manager, you would like to come and say that?
No, Speaker, what I was going to say is that, as the mayor has correctly pointed out, this is what they are asking or proposing. We are asking yet that the MM is allowed to enter into a memorandum of agreement. That will then give the details as to what will be the beast that we're talking about. I think councillors then have an opportunity to interact with the department and the relevant portfolio committee to look at what other things they can want to see in the memorandum of agreement. So the details of 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 will not be finalized today, but we have to finalize them in the MOA, which we are asking council to authorize us to sign.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Rihanna.
Alderman Gericke raised his hand.
Alderman Gericke, please proceed.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much indeed. Colleagues, we are in favor of any initiative that brings economic relief to our region. Point. There's no question about that. And we will support every initiative, or any initiative for that matter, that will empower the locals of a specific town. We will do that. And we are doing this in this item. It's just a pity that this item didn't come to our committee. I serve on this committee, so that we have fought it out on committee level before it comes to council, the nitty-gritty. But there's a couple of things here that bother me, that I struggle with. A couple of years ago, millions of rands have been spent in the Oudtshoorn municipality for boring, for drilling water boreholes. And one wonders today what happened to that. Not a single liter of water has seen the light since those millions were spent on a private company. Number one. Number two is, yes, you need water. And in terms of this is a unique product. This is pomegranate. And as the mayor said, you don't find it anywhere in the country. And if we can find a sort of hub or, a niche market for this year, then it's a proud moment for us as a municipality. But here's the thing. For the amounts mentioned here, I bow my head in shame here today. Because each time, and you got to understand the politics about this. The politics each time when these companies or farmers come here with proposals, we open our hearts for these type of proposals, for the Dyers Festival, for the whatever festival, and we just splash hundreds of thousands of rands on this. Now, there are previously disadvantaged farmers and individuals in this area that we don't see coming through this council where we say, yes, for you, here is at least 100,000 rand or 10,000 rand for you to develop your business. Those are the things that bother me here today as I'm sitting here, Mr. Mayor, with all due respect. And we, as a council, we should not aggravate further racial tension by the allocation of these funds to some people. We must balance the scale. We must say, we promote partnerships. We support white business. And I say we support white business because they, in many instances, they are the breadbasket of our region and of our economy. But we need to stimulate partnerships. We need to say, allocate more of this land to up and coming farmers. And I understand that you say you will debate afterwards the 10%. The thing is, once this approval has been done, then the approval has been done, then there's no turning back on the approval. Council must today express its wish, its desire to say, we want at least 12% or 15% or 20% of this. We will debate around 20% or 12% or 15%. This would be my proposal. And then we make it more acceptable, more palatable, more inviting to everybody that serves in this council and also to our communities. We serve communities ultimately and not ourselves. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Thank you, Mr. Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've been probably unfortunate to have been part of the visits to the farmers during the middle of drought. We've been to Kanaland, we've been to Oudtshoorn, all over the show. And Mr. Speaker, I must say, councillors, I always thought when there's a problem, when you throw money at it, it resolves it. What I've learned out of those visits, especially with farmers, money does not resolve their problem. They need water. Farmers need water. They will tell you straight, take your money and go and draw water for us. Don't give me the money. Can you go and draw water? And even in this instance, for this to succeed, those farmers need water. And everything else would be a cherry on top, Mr. Speaker. The money that we are availing here is for water. And also the niche that Alderman Gericke is referring to, and it is correct. You know that this is the mandate we're giving to the MM. Those up and coming farmers would be remembered and should be remembered when the negotiations are happening, because even this empowerment proposal, we still, and we can dictate those terms in terms of what do we want to see within that empowered block. So it is still not lost. We can still go that route. But the other thing, Mr. Speaker, is that I want us to be careful here not to spook investors and potential partners. We should not spook them. And I've learned another thing. Sometimes we cut the cake before the cake is even baked, you know, and we need to agree to the cake, and then we make the cake bigger, would Councillor Speeds always say to me. Then when the cake is in front of us, then we make the cake bigger and we put the ingredients in. But if we're going to cut it now and the baker has not even seen the flour, it might be something else. So I would strongly suggest that all of these things, MM, and it's on record, these questions are on record, would be taken into account when the negotiations start regarding this.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. That.
Alderman Gericke raised his hand.
Well, I would like, can we now conclude this, because Alderman Gericke, I don't know if you raise your hand again.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, you must ask me if I have a proposal, a counter proposal over there. You mustn't just, accept that I want to contribute. Can I make a counter proposal, please? If you allow me.
You're welcome.
Can I ask Mr. Mayor, would you consider before I make the proposal? I don't have support to make this. I'm just making this now. Would you consider going into a medium-term agreement with these farmers, for that matter? We are in a drought-stricken area. In a medium-term agreement with those, based on the amounts that's proposed here, and the medium term most probably 3 years, that we say we will we will support this initiative in terms of water supply for 3 years on the same amount, but that we up the level of a BEE involvement to 20%. Would that be an option, Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Speaker, I'm not an expert in this, but what I do know is that three years you won't even see a flower when it comes to the final product and production of this. So my take on this would be that let the experts deal with this, and when the negotiations come out, because what I'm saying is that if we say we want to see this in 3 years, we want X, Y, and Z in 3 years. That is the time that the tree grows, if I'm not mistaken. You know, so by then there's still no returns yet, because there's no crop in 3 years. So we need to get this watertight from the start, and we need to get this in terms of seeing the end product and the better part of this.
Thank you.
Alderman van der Hoeven.
Alderman van der
Yeah,
Hoeven.
Speaker.
Is it Alderman Gericke? Sorry.
Yes, let me just step down from.
Sorry, I'm going to ask you really to close this debate now. You've made your proposals, you've made your inputs. I don't think this is the end. I think this is only but the start.
Mr. Speaker, the Mayor has responded to my proposal. I think it's just fair if you allow me to respond also. You cannot just shut us up, shut us down unless we have exhausted.
I'm not shutting you out. I'm hearing a point of order here
Yes.
from the lady Katsunga. Thank you.
Section 27(6)(a) is council may only speak once on a matter before council. Please,
Can't hear Councillor Alderman Kritzinger, please. Sorry, Speaker.
Thank you.
I can not so worry, Pete.
Thank you. There was a proposal. The executive mayor responded to that. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
Speaker, I propose the recommendations in your original agenda.
Thank you.
I second it. Thank you,
Seconded
Mr.
by
Speaker.
Elder Lady Kritzinger.
Yes, julle is swak, ja. Julle is baie swak. Mense, julle is swak.
Ja, wel, ons sal nou nie praat as die swakstes hier rond. Let's proceed. Nothing more. Then I would like everybody, let's just go to the
No, Speaker. Speaker, my hand is up. You recognize my hand, but you didn't give me an opportunity to speak.
Please proceed, Alderman van der Hoeven. My apologies. I didn't
Speaker,
see that.
the sound on my side was poor at certain stages. I didn't exactly heard what Councillor Gericke's proposal was, but from our side, can we please request a 30% share for upcoming farmers?
Thank you. Can I?
We don't want this project to fail, but let us give it a go. Let us try and see whether we can't push it.
Thank you. Councillor Spies.
This is a matter of having mentors as well, Speaker.
Can't hear him, Speaker. Can't hear him, Speaker.
Speaker, this is the practical matter of what farming is about as well and how you start a farm. If you dump somebody, a upcoming farmer on 30 hectares to look after it with a mentor, you are going to overburden the upcoming farmer and the mentor. Let these people who are business people and farmers deal with that nitty-gritty. Can we just get on the ground floor, and can we then move on from there? Problem is that we want to interfere too much, and then we overburden ourselves, and then instead of getting success with 10 people, we fail with 30. Can we just start there first, please? And can we move on? We have a recommendation on the floor. and it is seconded. I'm not sure what Councillor Gericke's proposal was, and neither is Councillor Alderman van der Hoeven. So his recommendation doesn't have a seconder. Can we please move on? Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I think I've allowed enough debate on this matter. It had been proposed after the debate again and seconded, and I'm now closing the matter. We move on to the agenda. I can see, let me just place it on record that no urgent motions were received and or questions. No motions, no notice of motions. We don't have anything in closed session today.
I can't hear. Is the meeting finished, colleagues?
So I would like to thank everybody that participated in this meeting. Thank you for your very productive contributions, all colleague councillors, and to our municipal manager and his precious staff. Thank you so much for all the arrangements that you've made, preparation of an excellent agenda, for the quality of the reports that served before us, and everybody that was really involved into that. Then I would just like to finally say that the memorial service of for our late Councillor Danny Simon will take place on Thursday. It will start at 10, and the funeral will be on Saturday. My apologies that I will not be able to attend from the onset because we've got a council meeting at Mossel Bay that starts at 9. And there are some urgent issues which also demand our attention at that area, in that area, but I will, as soon as possible, when I can excuse myself from the Mossel Bay Council, Municipal Council meeting, join you. But thank you so much, everyone. Please take care. And as we've heard, it's not, the fat lady hasn't sung yet, so COVID is still with us. And stay blessed and stay healthy, and wishing you a lovely day further. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye, Speaker.
Thank you, Speaker.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Speaker. Bye, Speaker.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Good day to everyone.
Bye, Peter. Bye, Lechaba. Greetings.
Bye, Bejo. Bye. Bye, comrade.
The DA na. Bye.